I did it. I finally took the plunge and decided to tell everyone that we're going to talk about social injustice and racial inequality on a weekly basis. Done. And I did it because my job does these things called, or allows us to have compassionate conversations. And what that really means is that I get the opportunity to let people know what's going on in the outside world that's impacting me. And what the outside world to them is literally outside of work, because so many of us work in a vacuum. So many companies work in a vacuum, and I do not understand why. Why do you want to work in a vacuum? There was a point in time where like companies had leagues, and certain companies do. Like the more larger companies, they have hockey teams or basketball teams and stuff like that. But what if you're not into sports? Like, what if you're not into certain things? And that's all the company provides. Well, this way, you can have some compassionate conversations about these issues that's going on, whether or not it's environmental or human trafficking or the lack of things to do in the city that you live in, or things that you wish the company would do differently. So you can have these compassionate conversations. I'm choosing to talk about social injustice and racial inequality. That's a choice. I'm choosing it though because we need to speak up. And I literally mean everybody, like all complexions, all religions, all abilities, disabilities. We need to speak up. We have to talk to each other. That is probably the biggest thing that we're missing, because we forget that, like, yeah, I don't like how so-and-so dresses, but they like bowling and we have a bowling league together, and you can start there. Just go bowling, meet somebody new, do something new. And that's what I mean about all of these organizations no longer having things for employees to do together. You know, I was in a utilities company that I mentioned had the whole sports thing, but I'm not into playing sports. I like working out. I'm not into playing sports. I like watching sports, more so going to sports. Sitting and watching sports in front of the TV is just not my woohoo moment. So that's just not for me. But you know, people would tailgate and they would invite other coworkers and stuff like that. So it was interesting. It was nice. It was different. And then to be in a company now where they don't do any of those things, you know, I don't want to say I took it for granted, but I definitely didn't understand its role in my life. So that's the thing about ignorance, is you don't know it until it's gone, and or until you're informed of it. And so I didn't know jobs could be like that, and I liked it. I liked the option of it, of knowing that if I wanted to be a part of a sports league or anything like that, I could have that option. And I want other companies to do the same thing. I want there to be a knitting club. I want there to be a sewing club. I want there to be, what's the Dungeon and Dragon things? I hope that's right. Club, because someone I worked with was super into that. He was also into the historical reanimation thing. Very interesting. Never made it out to go see it, but you know, that's a real thing. And I think that there were other people in the building who would have been interested in that. Maybe not a lot, but enough for you to get to know your coworkers, get to know their other side, and get to know their interests. And as I'm sort of determining if I want to change positions, in my company or climb up this career ladder, because as we all know, I am launching my own app. The beta testing should be done this year, but that's no guarantees. And for me, I just always have to keep working on my next step. I can't be okay with just the job and the schedule. And if that works for you, like, kudos to you. I probably, no, I can't even say probably. I definitely envy you. I definitely wish I was one of those people who could just be like, I found my job. I just need to make X amount of money, and then get there and just be like, whatever raise I get above that is nice. It'll allow me to buy this, that, and the other. But, I'm able to make ends meet, and I'm able to have the vacation time that I want, and the off time that I want, and the work-life balance that I want. And, go spread your wings somewhere else. Maybe focus more on a hobby that you have and grow and challenge yourself there. I'm not that person. I literally challenge myself in many areas all the time, and this is how I work. And that's okay, and I've been thinking about that a lot too, is sort of the shaming thing of, well, I'm a Democrat, so I can't be friends with a Republican, or I'm a Republican, so I can't be friends with Democrats. And it really doesn't work like that. Like, one label doesn't define the entire person. So I want all of these groups and organizations to have that secondary component of people interacting with each other. And unfortunately, I think it's going to end up being a mandatory thing where you have to sign up for at least one thing in the company, or start your own. Like, you have to participate. That was a real thing in school. Class participation was a real thing. The difference is now you get to choose. If you're not into anime and you're not, I don't know, into pole dancing, if that becomes a thing, for me it should be, because it's a form of dance. And if you over sexualize it, then it turns into the stripper element to it. Exotic dancer. But even then, for me, it's just like, to each their own. They're not dancing for me, so I don't really care what they do with their free time. But I find that a lot of people do. Like, this whole abortion thing, and I'm not going to get into it, it just throws me off as to why so many people want to tell someone that's not even in their life what to do with their bodies and what to do in their free time. And why do you care? Like, it doesn't even impact you. So that's why I want so many groups to form, bowling leagues and whatnot to form, because then you'll start to realize, oh, we do have some things that are similar interests, and it does sort of help you to understand that that's a human life. Because right now, we are in a time and place where we don't care about human lives at all. We don't care about our actual life, like the food, the drink, the whatever drugs we take, do. Like, we don't care as much about that. We don't care as much about our family. We don't care as much about our friends. We're surviving. I hate to tell you, but most of us are surviving. I am getting a better balance of it now, and it takes a lot of work. And, in previous posts, I mentioned that I would be crying and stuff like that now, and just truly, truly, truly trying to be the most authentic me I could possibly be. And that, I don't want to say it scares me, but it's definitely one of those things where I'm practicing. I do say that a lot. I'm learning. And I want other people to have that same space and that same opportunity to do that. And unfortunately, it's a mental thing. Your mentality is holding you back. And that's why I feel like participation at work will be necessary. It gets you out of your head, and it lets you hear other people's thoughts and worries and concerns, and it just lets you collaborate. And we are meant to collaborate. We are meant to support. We are meant to be involved. We're meant to evolve. You know, there's always people breaking records. We are meant to break records, okay? Like, maybe not all of them, but we're meant to break records. And maybe not every person is meant to do that. Some people are just meant to make change. But we are definitely meant to keep going and change and grow and make the world a better place. So that is what I am here trying to do, and will continue to try to do until I find some other satisfaction, or I find that I don't need to do it anymore, or I find happiness in another area. Because I'm human. I have a lot more to talk about. I probably will make more content in the near future because I noticed that I have a lot more to say. I am still practicing on how I want to deliver. I am still practicing on how I want to look in the screen and engage in the screen, because I do not look in the screen a lot. And not to say that that's a bad thing, or it's a societal thing, or it's a necessity, but it's more so to say I actually want to do it. I want to have a more inline video experience. So, and I guess that doesn't make complete sense, but I already told you I'm still trying to figure this out. I will continue, and I want you to at least start or try, and I hope this gives you aspiration, because I just be figuring it out just like you. So I love you. I believe in you. Have a happy day. Go defund the police, please. Thanks.